YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. You can do that all down below. Comment your favorite college football team. Now, without any further ado, we have the National Championship preview, matchup, and prediction show right here, right now. A tale of two quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. You really don't need me to talk too much about them because I feel like everybody by now knows who these two guys are. They're all-stars of college football, and this game is going to be great. Let's begin by going over the 3 keys to winning for LSU. The first thing LSU needs to do is attack Clemson's secondary and target safety Tanner Muse. If you can get any of the LSU wideouts matched up on the safety like they did against Oklahoma, it could be a very long day for Brent Venables' defense. And I say Tanner Muse because he's not as great on pass defense as he is in rushing and helping. He's just not as athletic as other safeties. And we saw this in the Oklahoma game. LSU was able to exploit the safeties from Oklahoma. Number 2, I think Brady Quinn said it best. This offense is like giving Joe Burrow the answers to the test before he even takes it. So he needs to be able to recognize man coverage and zone coverage because Brent Venables is going to try to trick Joe Burrow. That's what he did last year against Tua, and that's what he's going to do again this year. So Joe Burrow needs to be smart, and Joe Brady needs to be able to train Joe Burrow so that he can see these mismatches. Number 3, Derek Stingley and the secondary have to play lights-out man coverage against Trevor Lawrence. He will tear apart a zone defense. It's no questions asked. What we saw against Ohio State, they were able to really cover those Clemson wide receivers with man coverage. The only problem was Trevor Lawrence broke away for a couple game-changing runs. And what we've noticed lately, Trevor Lawrence is a very good runner. So LSU is going to maybe put a spy on Lawrence if they go into man coverage. We'll see what's going to happen here. But LSU's corners need to be locked down on receivers like Justin Ross and T. Higgins. We'll go ahead and highlight our impact players of the game for LSU on offense. Obviously, Joe Burrow has one of the highest completion percentage in all of college football. Leads in yards, just broke a record against Oklahoma for most bold touchdowns. Incredible quarterback. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the running back who can also catch the ball very well. And then Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, that duo at wide receiver. I want to highlight Randy Moss's son, Thaddeus Moss. Incredible tight end. On defense, obviously Derek Stingley. This guy was robbed of SEC Freshman of the Year. And then you also have senior linebacker and leader Michael Divinity. He is back for the playoffs. He's going to play a huge role. And then safety Grant Delpit. This coverage is going to be so vital to LSU winning the game. Let's look at the Clemson's 3 keys to winning this game. Brent Venables has to be able to disguise coverages because like I said, Joe Brady and Joe Burrow know the answers to the test before they take it. It is vital that Clemson can disguise coverages and disguise blitzes. They cannot show pre-snap what they're actually going to do, and fortunately for Clemson, that is what they do well. Along with that, Isaiah Simmons is the key guy. We saw this against Ohio State. He was playing all over the field, safety, linebacker, moving in and out, playing in the nickel. He is incredible, and he will be a game changer for Clemson. Number 2, Travis Etienne. We've seen him run all over teams this year. We saw him run very well against Ohio State. Now he has a defense coming up against him that isn't so stout against the run. We've seen that all throughout the year, but LSU has been playing better as of late. Travis Etienne needs to break away for a couple big runs to get the load off of Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. Number 3 is probably the most important point I'm going to make. Because of this offense from LSU, Clemson needs to win the time of possession. They cannot score. They have to have some drives. They aren't like LSU. They need to create a couple stops on defense and then drain the clock, win the time of possession game, and you can quite possibly beat LSU and Joe Burrow. Now let's take a look at the impact players on offense. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, that duo is incredible. And then Justin Ross and T. Higgins, those wide receivers are very physical. They were banged up against Ohio State, so keep an eye out for that if they're going to be at 100% for this LSU game. On defense, Isaiah Simmons, I mentioned him before. He is all over the field. He is an incredible playmaker. Tanner Muse is going to have to step up in the pass coverage at safety. He is a baller, but he will be targeted a lot with this LSU offense. And then Balin Spector, who's also going to be a key component for that pass coverage for Clemson. Because the story is Burrow versus Lawrence, let's compare the two at quarterback with their straight up stats. Look at the completions. Obviously, Joe Burrow has thrown the ball a lot more, 478 to 370, and his completion percentage is at 77%. That is honestly the best completion percentage I think any quarterback could ever have in college football, while Trevor Lawrence is sitting at 67%. Not too bad either. Both quarterbacks have a lot of yardage on their belt. When you look at yards per attempt, Joe Burrow also wins, and then total touchdowns, he's obviously going to have more. Now let's look at the interceptions. I know Trevor Lawrence has 8 interceptions, but if you look at his past games, he has been on a hot streak, and those were from the beginning of the season. The QBRs, both insanely high. Rushing attempts, this is where Trevor Lawrence is a little bit better in my opinion. He has more rush yards and more rush yards average. We saw this at Ohio State. When you cover Clemson in man coverage, Trevor Lawrence is not afraid to run the ball. He has 8 rushing touchdowns on the year to Joe Burrow's 4. As always, defense wins championships, but could LSU break the mold? Let's take a look at both defenses. LSU letting up 339.9 yards per game. Clemson 264.1. Those are vastly different. Yards per play, they're pretty close. Pass yards allowed per game. LSU letting up 221. That is a lot. And then 118 yards per game allowed on the ground. 17 interceptions to 19. Both teams forced turnovers, but where Clemson separates themselves is in the fumble recoveries. And obviously points per game, just 11.5 points per game, whereas LSU letting up 21.6. I would like to point out that LSU's defense as of late, since that Texas A&M game, has not budged. I mean, they have been lights out, especially against Oklahoma, a team which many people thought could run all over LSU's defense. Alright guys, now it's prediction time. This is a very, very hard game to predict. Obviously, we got two incredible teams going out there on the field, but I think LSU's offense is just too much for Clemson's defense. I have LSU winning 31-28 over Clemson and Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be a great game. We know that. Heck, it might go to overtime. That would be incredible. Let me know what you think down below. Who do you think will win this game? And also, what is your score prediction? Thanks for watching the End Zone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.